Tim Allen. He's a man's man, but lately he's realizing
What happened to men?
he's not in a man's world anymore.
For years, Last Man Standing was the show that brought families together every Friday night. The laughs, the characters, the stories, it all felt like home. But then everything changed. One by one, the main cast started leaving. The replacements didn't feel the same, and suddenly viewers were left wondering, why did their favorite characters disappear? Was it creative differences, career changes, or something deeper? The true story is more surprising than you'd expect. So let's get started. After years away from TV, Tim Allen came back strong in 2011 with Last Man Standing. It wasn't an easy decision. He had already turned down big offers, including one from CBS that would have paid him $1 million per episode. But Last Man Standing was different. The show's creator, Jack Burdett, imagined Mike Baxter as a new kind of character, someone who felt like an older, wiser version of Tim, the toolman, Taylor. At first, Allen didn't want the role. He thought it was too similar to his old character. He said no 3 times. What finally changed his mind was a deal that gave him control. Along with starring, he would be an executive producer and have a say in the show's direction. This freedom would later play a big role as the show touched on political topics. ABC had big plans for the show. They wanted it to feel like a modern version of All in the Family. The idea was to have a conservative main character whose views would be challenged by his family. They put the show on Friday nights, a tough time slot, hoping Tim Allen's popularity would draw viewers. It worked. When it premiered in October 2011, 13.2 million people tuned in, making it ABC's biggest comedy debut since 2014. Even in its first season, it dominated its time slot, and was especially popular with viewers aged 18 to 49. This was a big deal for a Friday night show, which is usually a hard slot to succeed in. Over 6 seasons, the show kept strong ratings, averaging over 8 million viewers per episode. That's why it shocked so many people when ABC canceled it in 2017. And even more shocking was the departure of the main cast. In the first season of the show, Alexandra Krosny played Kristen Baxter, the eldest daughter of Mike Baxter. Kristen was a young single mom who had her son, Boyd, at just 17. She worked as a waitress and lived with her parents while trying to balance her life. Viewers loved how Krosny made Kristen feel real. She had a mix of sass and heart, making her funny but also relatable. Her quick, witty comebacks with Tim Allen's character were a highlight, and she brought a lot of emotion to Kristen's struggles as a young mom. But after season 1, something unexpected happened. ABC announced that Krosny wouldn't return for the next season. They said it was due to creative differences, but the real reasons were more complicated. The show's producers decided to change Kristen's story. Instead of focusing on her being a young mom trying to figure things out, they wanted her to seem older and more experienced. They thought this would make the show feel fresh and create new ways for her to challenge Mike Baxter on political and social issues. To make this change, they recast Kristen with a new actress, Amanda Fuller. Another reason for the change had to do with how the sisters on the show looked. Even though Kristen was the oldest sister, Alexandra Krosny was actually younger than Molly Ephraim, who played Mandy, the middle sister. The producers felt this made things seem a little off. Amanda Fuller, who was older than both Krosny and Ephraim, seemed like a better fit to play the eldest sibling. Apart from that, in December 2011, Nick Jonas made a surprise appearance on Last Man Standing as Ryan Vogel's son, Kristen's ex-boyfriend, and the father of her baby. He was only 19 years old at the time, and the casting was meant to grab attention and boost ratings. In this Christmas episode, Ryan suddenly comes back to town after disappearing for a long time. He's shown as a nervous and immature teenager who ran away from his responsibilities. The show described him as a numbskull who got Kristen pregnant. Jonas's version of Ryan was simple and not very developed, but his appearance caused quite a buzz among viewers. Things changed when Tim Doyle became the showrunner in Season 2. He wanted Ryan to be more than just a deadbeat dad. Doyle decided to turn Ryan into a smarter, more complex character who could challenge Mike Baxter's strong conservative views. The plan was to make Ryan a regular character with deeper connections to the Baxter family. But even Doyle couldn't keep this character the same. In 2012, Jordan Masterson took over the role of Ryan. Masterson, known for his role on Greek, brought a completely new version of the character to life. His Ryan was smarter, more mature, and politically outspoken. He wasn't just a scared teenager anymore. He was now someone who could argue with Mike about big ideas like politics and values. This change gave Ryan a lot more depth and made him an important part of the show. Over time, Ryan's character grew even more. He went from being a struggling dad to running his own cannabis business, Best Buds. In later seasons, the show had fun with Ryan's success, showing how he unknowingly started acting like a capitalist, something that Mike found hilarious. In May 2017, fans of Last Man Standing were shocked when ABC announced it was canceling the show. It wasn't just any show, it was one of ABC's biggest hits, with over 8 million viewers and strong ratings. People expected it to return for another season, especially since it was doing so well on Friday nights. But instead, the cancellation came out of nowhere. The timing made it even more surprising. Just 2 months earlier, Tim Allen, the show's star, had caused a stir on Jimmy Kimmel Live. He joked that being a conservative in Hollywood felt like living in 1930s Germany. Wondered if that had anything to do with the network's decision. ABC's president, Channing Dungey, said it wasn't about politics. She claimed the network wanted to stop airing comedies on Fridays and focus on fantasy and sci-fi shows instead. But for fans and even the cast, it felt like a slap in the face. The cast didn't hide their emotions. Tim Allen went on Twitter and said he felt stunned and blindsided by the cancellation. Nancy Travis, who played his TV wife Vanessa, shared her heartbreak with fans and thanked them for sticking by the show. Hector Elizondo, who played Ed, hinted in an interview that politics might have played a role in the decision. While the older cast members were shocked, younger actors like Molly Ephraim and Caitlin Dever started moving on. They didn't expect the show to come back and began looking for new opportunities. Fans, however, weren't ready to say goodbye. They started one of the biggest "Save the Show" campaigns ever seen. Within a day, a petition to bring the show back got over 400,000 signatures. Fans took to Twitter, flooding it with millions of tweets using the hashtag #SaveLastManStanding. Some even sent toy tools to ABC's offices, referencing Tim Allen's handyman character. Others paid for billboards in big cities like Los Angeles and New York, demanding the network bring the show back. Even politicians joined in, with Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker suggesting the cancellation might have been politically motivated. Behind the scenes, the reasons for the cancellation were a little more complicated. ABC had to pay $3 million for each episode because the show was made by 20th Century Fox. On top of that, Tim Allen's salary, over $200,000 per episode, added to the costs. After the cancellation, Fox executives started shopping the show to other networks, including CMT and NBC. In the end, Fox itself picked it up. A year later, on May 11, 2018, Fox announced they were bringing the show back. This wasn't just because of the fans. Fox noticed how well ABC had done with the Roseanne revival, which had millions of viewers. Seeing a chance for their own success, Fox decided to take a risk and spent $50 million to make it happen. A few days before the announcement, Tim Allen, the star of the show, dropped a hint on Twitter. He told fans to keep it up, showing that the deal was already in the works. Getting the show back wasn't easy. The timeline to get it back on air was tight. Fox announced the revival in May 2018, and the premiere was set for September. This gave the team just a few months to write, film, and prepare. The writers started working on scripts in June, with only 15 weeks to get them ready. Filming began in August at the same studio as before, but the set had to be rebuilt because the original one had been taken apart. To meet the deadlines, they filmed 3 episodes every week. Later, the COVID-19 pandemic caused a pause in production, adding more challenges. Fox spent more money on the revival to keep the show at its best. Each episode cost $1.1 million, up from $800,000 before. Tim Allen's pay went up too. He earned $235,000 per episode, making him one of the highest-paid actors on TV. To help cover costs, Fox sold streaming rights to Hulu and CMT for $1.5 million per episode. The production team also found ways to save money, like filming more efficiently and cutting back on travel for location shoots. All this effort paid off. The show's first season on Fox brought in 8 million viewers. The premiere alone was getting strong ratings. Fans showed they were still excited to have the Baxter family back on their screens. But the challenges were not over yet, and one of the main challenges was casting new names. When ABC canceled Last Man Standing in 2017, Molly Ephraim, who played Mandy Baxter for 6 seasons, thought the show was done forever. She didn't wait around, she signed up for new jobs right away. By the time Fox brought the show back a year later, Molly was already busy. She had taken roles in different projects like Brockmire with Hank Azaria and Halt and Catch Fire. Molly couldn't leave these commitments, so coming back as Mandy wasn't an option. When it came to replacing Molly as Mandy, the producers of Last Man Standing didn't want a look-alike. They wanted someone who could bring something new to the role. After searching for the right fit, they chose Molly McCook. She didn't look like Ephraim at all, but the team decided to embrace the differences. They even made jokes about it on the show instead of trying to hide the change. When McCook first appeared as Mandy in Season 7, fans were upset. They started the hashtag #NotMyMandy to complain. But McCook didn't let that stop her. Instead of copying Ephraim's version, she made Mandy her own. She focused on the character's love for fashion and her dream of becoming a designer. The writers gave her more serious storylines, like Mandy's struggle with pregnancy and her relationship with Kyle. Over time, fans began to warm up to her, especially after her emotional scenes with Tim Allen, who played Mandy's father, Mike. By then, McCook had proven she could bring something special to the character. But Molly Ephraim was not the only one who moved on. Caitlin Dever also had the same kind of situation. After the first cancellation of the show, she made a bold decision to shift her focus to films. This led to her breakout role in Kathryn Bigelow's Detroit, a critical turning point in her career. From there, her success snowballed. Within 18 months, she landed major roles in Booksmart, 2019, where she starred alongside Beanie Feldstein, and the Netflix miniseries Unbelievable. These projects catapulted her into the spotlight. Her role in Unbelievable was especially significant, earning her Golden Globe and BAFTA nominations. Meanwhile, Booksmart became a hit with glowing reviews and a $25 million box office haul. Her decision to pursue new opportunities turned out to be the best gamble she could have taken. When Fox revived Last Man Standing, things became more complicated. Dever was no longer able to commit as a full-time cast member. She transitioned from a series regular to a recurring guest star, appearing in 7 episodes of Season 7. However, by Season 8, her appearances dropped to just 2 episodes. The COVID-19 pandemic made things even harder, with strict quarantine rules requiring 14 days of isolation for each appearance. The show's production team had to adjust their schedules around Dever's availability, sometimes writing entire episodes that could be filmed during her brief windows between projects. By the final season, she appeared in only 3 episodes, including the series finale. Dever's reduced role meant significant changes to the show's storylines. The writers explained her character Eve Baxter's absence by sending her to the Air Force Academy. This creative decision allowed her sporadic returns to carry more emotional weight. Impact deepening her character's arc, the show also made clever use of video calls to keep Eve connected to the Baxter family even when Dever couldn't be on set. One standout episode, The Two Nieces of Eve, was crafted specifically to fit her limited availability. It focused entirely on Eve's relationship with her nieces, tying up several long-running storylines and giving fans a heartfelt moment with her character. Despite her busy schedule, Dever managed to juggle multiple high-profile projects between 2017 and 2021. She starred in Dope Sick alongside Michael Keaton, took on a role in Dear Evan Hansen, and recently landed the part of Abby in HBO's The Last of Us Season 2. Her commitments were so demanding that Last Man Standing had to abandon plans for 2 of her episodes in Season 8 due to scheduling conflicts. Still, Dever remained loyal to the show that helped launch her career. In May 2020, Fox announced that Last Man Standing would end with its 9th season, even though it was still very popular. The show averaged 8.3 million viewers per episode, making it Fox's second highest-rated comedy. Fans were surprised because the show had strong ratings and loyal viewers. Producer Kevin Abbott shared that they had already started planning for a 10th season. One big idea was to have Amanda Fuller's character, Kristen, take over Outdoor Man and rename it Outdoor Woman. This change would have focused on how the family business evolved over time and explored themes of generational change. The writers also wanted to bring back fan-favorite guest stars like Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Richard Karn for storylines that tied into their earlier appearances, making it even more exciting for longtime fans. As the final season approached, Abbott revealed that Fox executives wanted a big event to make it special. At first, Abbott wasn't interested. He felt the show worked best when it focused on small, family-centered stories. But then writer John Hauer came up with an idea that got everyone excited, bringing back Tim, the tool-man, Taylor from Home Improvement. This crossover sparked discussions about how the two shows could connect. Over the years, the team had considered other crossover ideas, like creating a shared universe where they explained what happened to all the Taylor family members from Home Improvement. However, these ideas were always complicated to pull off, involving legal challenges and negotiations between multiple studios. Some exciting ideas never made it past the planning stage. One idea was to do a Tool Time reunion special within the Last Man Standing universe, bringing back the entire Home Improvement cast. Another idea had Mike Baxter discovering he was distantly related to Tim Taylor, which would have created a fun storyline about their family trees connecting. The writers even planned a Christmas special that would unite cast members from both series. But scheduling conflicts and legal rights issues made it impossible. When they finally decided to bring Tim Taylor into the show, it wasn't easy. Since Disney owned the rights to Home Improvement, it took a lot of back-and-forth negotiations. Abbott revealed that the crossover wasn't officially approved until the day before the script reading. He even threatened to move forward without Disney's permission to get things moving. Tim Allen, who played both Mike Baxter and Tim Taylor, had some conditions. He wanted Tim Taylor's character to be treated respectfully and given a proper reason for being in Colorado. The writing team rewrote the episode 3 times to satisfy everyone, including the original Home Improvement creators. Tim Allen went the extra mile to prepare. He rewatched episodes of Home Improvement to get back into character and make sure Tim Taylor and Mike Baxter felt like two different people. The final episode included subtle nods to Home Improvement, like references to Wilson and Tool Time, and even explained what happened to Tim Taylor after the original series ended. This crossover became one of the most memorable moments of Last Man Standing's final season, tying together two beloved shows in a way that thrilled fans.